All right, we're live with that.
Guys, we're on location. There's already been so many
Issues?
issues. If we sound tinny or like we're in a cave, we can't do anything about it. So you're just gonna have to deal with it, and I'll fix it in post. And you can listen to it sounding better on the when it's posted as a podcast. But yes, it's always difficult to. Not, you think with technology these days, it's 2024, that it should be just be seamless. You can. Oh, my mom says we sound great. Okay, well maybe it was just in through those headphones where I was monitoring the output. Got a weird curl. There we go.
Well, I think we have to.
Oh, we assume the worst. That's just how we assume the worst at all times. That everything's broken. We're anyway. Welcome to yeah. I'll put my drink down there. Why not? Look at this. I don't have this photograph. Okay, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Anyway.
Hey, Jack.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad we sound normal. We are on location in Bend, Oregon. Not far from the original or normal CwC studios, but we're doing a little family time this week and hanging out. Now, to warn everybody out there before we officially start the show, my sister and her boyfriend are about to get here, so prepare for just like chaos and dogs barking. Leia is in the room with us. I'm sure she'll go crazy as soon as she hears noise outside this door as they kind of load everything into their bedroom and whatever. Dogs be barking downstairs. So just
Dogs are outside.
Oh, the dogs are outside. Okay, so
only Leia and I think Asa are inside.
Okay, well, Ace is the best boy anyway. So just be warned that there may be some chaos that happens within the next probably few minutes.
And by chaos, lights can go flying, cameras can be pulled down.
God, the whole thing could just be.
In which case,
you'll just see us like, and then it'll freeze and like the stream will cut.
They're here.
Oh,
they're here.
All's quiet.
Well, anyway, if everything gets pulled down, the podcast is over at that point. We're just deal.
Just canceled it, but anyway,
because of tech problems.
That's true. Shall we get started?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm gonna give myself a little editing cue. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cosmos with Cosmos. I'm Liz. And Brandon is on assignment. Well, he's heading home. Yeah, he's in travels. He had family time. Exactly. He had family time. So he's, getting to live his life and recuperate from everything that he's been through.
In chat. He always shows up in chat.
He's flying. Well, I don't know. But whatever. He can do whatever he wants. So maybe Brandon will make a chat appearance. It'll be the ghost of Brandon via chat. That's how ghosts should communicate, is through internet chats. Maybe all like the online trolls are all ghosts that are just pissed off because they're dead. I don't know. Anyway, since this is a High in the Sky for April 2024 episode, we'll check out what's up in the night sky for April and some astronomy news. And then either stick around if you're with us live or come back later to YouTube and check out The Hangover, because we are going to go through the Messier Marathon. And if you want to know what that is, then you'll have to check it out. But speaking of drinks, what are you drinking?
I am drinking, and you'll see why the name is what it is. Tired of Tired Light. Just tired of it.
Just tired
of Tired Light. We'll find out why later on. But it has you can either use gold rum, which is what is in here, or Jamaican rum. Either way. So it has gold rum, cranberry juice, lime juice. It has also a little simple syrup in it, and grenadine to kind of pull out that red a little bit more. So I feel like I'm leaving something else out, but whatever.
Well, you're the mixologist in this family. I am drinking what I'm calling a total eclipse of the liver. Really, it's a grown-up lemonade. It is lemonade. Take it away, sir.
Lemonade. teeny bit of simple syrup. Not entirely sure why, but I guess take a little edge off. But it's got
Okay.
dark sweet cherries,
Do
lemonade,
that. Can't see the
um, cherry vodka, and a little simple syrup poured over ice.
it's very refreshing now that we're heading into springtime. Although it kind of doesn't feel like springtime, but because it's been a little cool and rainy.
It
But
was, but then it
yeah,
got a little chilly. But
it's yummy. Jack's got no drink today. He's making spinach and mushroom and cheese ravioli, and the pasta dough is currently. Of course, you're making your own dough, Jack. I expect nothing less from Jack. That sounds delicious. I would drink it or eat it.
well,
Put it in a blender. I will drink it, or
let's
I'll
just
just eat
eat
it.
it.
I know it's be so
You've
good.
made dough before.
I've never made my own pasta dough. I made pizza dough.
Oh, I was thinking I went right to pizza dough.
No, pasta dough.
Oh,
That
yeah,
that takes that's a whole other
you've
level of that I don't even. Anyway,
Let's do
if
it.
you enjoy our shenanigans, follow us on all the things at Drinking
All the
Cosmos
things.
on Twitter and Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else, like on Spotify, YouTube, and where are we? I don't know, wherever else we do it. Instagram, we do our things. Follow us and rate us. Yes, check out The Hangover only on YouTube, which is our little kind of after the show part where we're just drunk and ramble on, which is not really no different from the main show. And then, of course, every other Wednesday, check out The Shot. Little shots of astronomy science down your gullet for you. Little short form pieces if you're not don't have the time for the lengthy banter that we go
The
on.
main show though is a little more organized. That's because we haven't gotten through all of our drinks. And so it's a little more organized
Yeah.
than the Hangover. But
Yeah, 'cause that's where the hangover is because like here's what happens after the drinks
yeah,
start hitting us.
it's the
Did you
after
eat anything
party.
this time?
I just a sandwich early this morning.
I had some pizza and then I had cereal and then pizza. Anyway, we do of course have some rules. If any dogs start barking, take a drink, and if we get nerdy and make any Lord of the Rings or Star Wars references, take a drink. I also forgot to mention follow some of our friends. We got Katie and her awesome art, Wildixia, Wild Ixia on Etsy. We got if you're down in the Council Bluffs, Iowa area, check out Jack's Planetarium, the Rolling Bluffs, Rolling Bluffs Planetarium.com, and then Ron Proctor, MrProctorShow.com. Check out just the things that he does for his community, and he's doing some great stuff now down in Tucson at Kidspeak Observatory in the Texan of Arizona. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. Let's get high in the sky. I'm gonna do it every time, every show. I'm gonna say it like that. And notice none of us are actually getting high in the sky. But if you choose to get high and it's legal and cool, won't get in trouble, and you're of legal age or whatever, then okay, all right, fine. Jesus, you gotta let me just do my little thing. Of course, we start off the high in the sky with a constellation highlight, and this month we are highlighting the classic Leo the Lion. This is a springtime constellation that is beginning to make its presence up in the night sky. Of course, it'll be up. As we get deeper into spring, it'll be more visible earlier in the evening hours. But what you want to look for, Leo, it's a bright constellation. It's really pretty easy to spot. You just got to look for a backwards question mark in the sky. It's a very obvious backwards question mark. So if you're looking up there and you go, that looks like a backwards question mark, then you're most likely seeing Leo.
But if you're still unsure, look for the triangle.
Yes, there's like a elongated triangle behind it of stars. That's the body of Leo the Lion. Now, this backwards question mark, that is the head and chest of Leo the Lion. It's also an asterism known as the sickle because it looks like,
a sickle.
A sickle. Does anybody use sickles nowadays? Do farmers still use sickles? Or just like, I don't know, like fun serial killers, maybe. Use sickles. Okay. The brightest star in Leo is the bottom star in that question mark called Regulus, which is the heart of Leo the Lion. It means regal. Royal star. It's a binary star.
Can you split it?
No, I don't think so. And the second brightest star is Denebula, and Denebula is the tail of Leo the Lion. So it's on the opposite side. It's at the end of that kind of triangle that makes its body. And either one of those stars can be part of the springtime asterism, the spring triangle, which we discussed in our March High in the Sky episode. So if you want to know about the spring triangle, then check out the March High in the Sky. But we got Leo the Lion up there with Regulus and Denebula standing out. And we know Leo is a lion. And actually, Leo has been seen as a lion basically forever.
Well, it looks like a lion.
Because it looks like it's obviously like a lion.
It's like the Saints of Egypt.
It's one of the earliest recognized constellations, and archaeological evidence suggests that the Mesopotamians had basically a similar constellation around 4000 BCE. And some mythologists believe that in Sumeria, Leo represented the monster Humbaba, who was killed by Gilgamesh.
Oh, some who-ologists?
Archaeologists. What I say? Oh, mythologists, people who study the myths, ancient myths. Yes, the mixologists. They like to weigh in on the constellations. So again, most cultures recognize Leo as a lion. In Babylonian astronomy, the constellation was called Ur-Gula. The Great Lion, the brightest star Regulus, was known as the star that stands at the lion's breast. Distinctly regal associations, a la the King Star. To the Greeks, which of course, Greeks very popular in night sky with us, they recognize Leo as the Nemean lion, which was the lion that Hercules fought as one of his 12 labors that he had to perform. And this lion had a very tough hide, tough fur that no weapon could penetrate it. And so being Hercules, he used his strength to strangle the lion. And apparently what I was reading, he also broke its leg backwards and bent it in half, the whole lion in half. I don't know. It was pretty gruesome. But to basically, I guess, celebrate or honor Leo and Hercules completing this labor of defeating Leo was placed into the stars.
You also skinned him.
Yes, by
using the claw.
Only Leo's own claw could penetrate his own hide, and then that his hide became was it the shield for Orion but didn't somebody else get the hide too?
I think
yeah.
Hercules
Wore for a bit. He's like, oh, look my new lion cape, everybody. It's in the height of Greek fashion right there. Now the Chinese are a little different. They look at the night sky and they go crazy with everything that's in. They have so many asterisms and so many. It's wild. So the modern constellation of Leo lies across one of the quadrants symbolized by the vermilion bird of the south. I'm not even going to attempt to do the Chinese name of it because I don't want to offend anyone. By the vermilion bird of the south, and 3 enclosures divide the sky in Chinese. So the name of the Western constellation in modern Chinese is Shi Zi Zuo. I apologies, which basically means the lion constellation. And there's 12 asterisms in this whole breakout, each involving different stars and repeat stars and whatever. You have the right wall is a collection of stars, or the banner of a wine shop is part of it. So
I have over 200.
Yeah, it's it's wild. Oh, yeah, you had to make all of those anyway. But of course, these constellations, these are all made up of stars at varying distances from the Earth. They're not all just really hanging out together, unless they are hanging out together, like a binary star, like Regulus, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of deep space objects in Leo. In fact, there's a lot of bright galaxies in Leo the Lion. It has what's known as the Leo triplet, a triplet of spiral galaxies known as the M66 group, or Messier, Charles Messier's part of his catalog, which binge. Yes, in The Hangover, check it out. We'll go through the Messier Marathon. But it's a small group of galaxies. It's about 37 million light years away. And the spiral galaxies are M65, M66, and NGC 3628. NGC refers to the New General Catalog, so it's separate from Messier's catalog. And M66 is actually distorted due to the gravitational interactions with the other galaxies, and those galaxies are actually like pulling stars away from M66. Which is kind of cool. Right. But you need large binoculars or a small telescope to see it. In fact, most deep space objects, you're gonna need either binoculars or a small telescope, or even like a large telescope, or an amateur, like you've invested a couple $1,000s in a telescope kind of thing. Leo also has M95 and M96. These are both spiral galaxies that are 20 million light years away from Earth. And it's also home to one of the largest structures in the observable universe. Some of the structures found in this constellation are the Clos Campusano and the huge LQG, which are basically, these are large quasar groups. Yeah. And quasars are known as quasi-stellar objects. They're
Quasi-stellar.
They're essentially like really old galaxies that are emitting a lot of radio.
Right. So that's how they first saw them, was in the radio.
Yeah.
And that they, they kind of look like stars. Because
quasi-stellar.
Yeah, and but what you're looking at is kind of the heart of that galaxy, and it's very active galaxy. The black holes feeding on stuff, and so early universe, and quasars discovered in the '60s, I believe.
It just sounds cool, quasars. It sounds very science fiction, which is great. So that's Leo and some stuff that's in Leo for the spring. Of course, there's many other constellations and stuff to find out there, and we always recommend, getting one of those like apps, sky map apps that on your phone that you can just point up in the sky and be able to know what you're looking at, or find various things like, comets and deep space objects, etc. And also planets. Of course, we like to have some planets up in our night sky. And really, in April, it's primarily affectionately known as Juby Jupes on this show to us. But Jupiter is the main planet that you're going to see in April. I'm sorry, I have something in my eye, and it's just driving me absolutely bonkers. It's probably a piece of stupid makeup that I only put on for these damn shows. It could be also dog hair everywhere. But Jupiter's the main one that you're going to be able to see at night. It's very bright. It stands out. Quite often. Currently, it's about, we'll say, at around 8:30 in the evening. I've seen it almost pretty directly overhead when I've looked up kind of to the south and heading to the west.
Oh, really?
At home, yeah. It kind of goes over the house just a little bit, but I mean it's heading in the western direction. But
maybe. Time.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it's not directly overhead, but it's kind of, it's...
Gotcha.
I gotta look up to see it. But going through the month, on April 6th, the crescent moon is going to be hanging out low on the eastern horizon with Saturn and Mars in the early morning sky. And on April 7th, the moon is then going to be visiting Venus early in the morning. You do need to clear horizon, so if you got a lot of mountains on your horizon or buildings, it's going to be pretty low, then you're not going to be able to see it. Yeah, and these are basically about like 30 minutes before sunset when I'm talking about early morning sky, so or sunrise, I should say, not sunset.
Do you know if Venus is heading more towards morning sky, higher in the morning sky? Or
I think it's not.
So it's diving towards the sun? I think
it's diving towards the sun, yeah. On April 10th, Saturn and Mars have a breakfast date about 30 minutes before sunrise. And on April 20th, Jupes and Uranus.
Which you definitely need.
Yeah, you need binoculars to see Uranus. With binoculars, it'll look like kind of a small greenish star. And they will actually only be, Jupiter and Uranus on the 20th will be half a degree apart in the sky.
So you find Jupiter, you can find Uranus.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I know there's a joke in there somewhere. Now, April 2024, everybody. There's some events. In fact, there's one
Nothing's
event.
happening.
There's one main event
Nothing's
happening in
happening.
April of
Nothing.
2024. I don't know if you've heard about this. I don't know if you've seen it on the
You know what?
news. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh man.
That would be so on uh so on April 8th. Why didn't I? Oh, I do have the date in there. On April 8th, Holy Armageddon, Batman. It's a total solar eclipse. Cheers.
Okay. Have you seen the like headlines that say basically the world's going to end with this?
Yeah, like, well, I've seen some sensationalist headlines that's like, oh, Texas calls in the National Guard, or Ohio calling in the National Guard, or
they just do that in general.
well, I mean, so basically, there's going to be a total solar eclipse on April 8th, and this is when essentially it's a new moon, and so the Earth and the moon and the sun, they line up very nicely. It happens every now and then. Typically, the moon's tilted off the plane of the solar system, so occasionally they line up, and so the moon's gonna pass in front of the sun and block it out, and we all die. No, it's an amazingly awesome, beautiful, crazy sight. Something we've said it many times on the show. We wholeheartedly recommend seeing a total solar eclipse in person. It's
closest to a religious experience that I can get.
It's mind-boggling. In fact, everything goes like twilight. Like the birds get quiet, and it's absolutely beautiful.
You really feel connected to the
Jack says Podunk states are freaking out about actually getting tourists. Yeah. A lot of states aren't prepared for like the amount of people that are gonna kind of show up, but it goes through Mexico, through Texas, throughout the Midwest, and then leaves the U.S. through Maine. Yeah. So it takes this sort of.
I don't think Jack gets a full.
Jack, you don't.
Yeah, I think. I think the line goes from Texas up towards Ohio.
And then out
towards Maine.
Out through Maine. In Texas, totality, in Dallas, I should say, totality begins at 1:40 p.m. Central Time. And then the max eclipse is at 1:42 Central Time. And then it ends at 1:44 Central Time. So it's basically a 4-minute long thing.
It's But that's just a totality, which you're not going to get long totalities anyway.
Yeah.
But that is it's 4 minutes of just being connected to the universe. We need to look at because there's no totality here. We should look up and see how much of a moon carve out we get of the sun for
I don't think we get a lot. Jack says he's only at 80% at home, so he's going to do a road trip.
I have to tell you, the difference between 99% and 100% is basically, it's like being across the universe.
Is it astronomical?
It is astronomical. It is. You might as well be across the universe from it.
Yeah. But if you're hoping to get any kind of like a hotel room or anything, you're gonna be out of luck. Everything's been booked up for like years now, essentially. Campsites, everything's super expensive. But definitely cool. It ends in Maine at about 3:34 p.m. Eastern time. But what's cool, what I was reading, is that because the sun is at solar maximum and it's kind of peaking at solar maximum, then during the eclipse, you could see prominences, these kind of like arcs of plasma off the surface, I say lightly, of the sun. And there could even be a coronal mass ejection.
Which we always hope for.
When it's not pointed towards the Earth, we hope for. But that would be a really cool to see during the eclipse as a CME.
But to be fair, though, if you do see a CME, it's on the edges, which means it's not going to be.
Yeah. But you could see, basically, you could witness a little explosion off of the sun. A little fart that is like how many nuclear bombs?
It's a lot.
A lot. It's a very powerful fart. Like lots of beans. Lots of beans. So that's the biggest event in April, of course. It
Not
is,
for me.
I mean, it is rare that, solar eclipse happen,
Yeah. It's like once or twice a year, but
but being able to
be it like
see
where
it,
you are.
yeah, where to have it happen where you're located is rare. A lot of times it
So
happens over the ocean.
right, or Antarctica.
Yeah.
The poles get it the most, just because the moon doesn't always line up directly with the Earth. It's either going to be a little above or a little below, and so the poles are going to get it more often. But for the U.S., to put this in perspective, I think there was an eclipse in like 1980, 1979, somewhere around there. And then after that, for the United States, it was 2017 that the next eclipse
Oh,
occurred.
really?
Yeah, and then now we have this one for the U.S. But I don't think the next one's going to happen until the 2040s for
Yeah,
the
I think
U.S.
so. I check out our shot episode on eclipses.
Yeah,
I think I go
but
over them in that little shot.
but a solar eclipse generally happens, once or twice a year, somewhere in the world. The world, like Liz said, is basically three-fourths ocean, and so that's where most of them happen, or at the poles. And also with the new moon that's coming up. No, I'm sorry,
Well,
the full moon. The full moon.
the full moon, we'll get to, but it's
okay.
on April 23rd.
Yeah, or is it in the notes? I might have missed that.
This one.
Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry. The one that's coming up here really soon now? I don't know. When's the full moon in April?
April 23rd.
23rd. All right, so it's the one that's kind of right now there's an eclipse.
Oh, okay.
Because of the way that the geometry lines up, you have solar and lunar eclipses together.
I guess I should go back and look at my March High in the Sky episode.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's visible for us in the US.
I don't
I don't know.
think so.
Regardless, go out and look at the moon.
Yeah, check it out. So the solar eclipse isn't the only thing happening as far as celestial events go. There's also the Lyrid meteor shower. And it's not an exciting meteor. It's not a bright meteor shower. It's happening April 21st through 22nd, but it's also around the time that the moon is getting full, so that the full moon does hinder the visibility of things like meteor showers. It can get, I don't know. I didn't find that, I didn't see where it said that, but often, like with this one, apparently bright dust trails can be seen, for it. But the best time to see it is April 23rd, which is the full moon.
But also after midnight.
And the Lyrids come from comet C 1861 G1 Thatcher. It has a 415-year orbit around the sun, and this is actually the oldest meteor shower that we can still see. It was first recorded in 6,687 BCE, which is wild. So I thought that was really cool, even though.
15.
Okay, so it's.
Yeah, but yeah, but in competing with the full moon, though, you're going to need to be in a very dark location. Though it does say, this is earthsky.org, they do say that it is prone to uncommon surges, which will get you up to about 100 per hour.
Wow.
But
nothing I read indicated they were expecting a surge.
Well, I mean, probably not, but but you are competing with a full moon, like you said, and so
yeah. Speaking of that full moon, April 23rd, and it is known as the pink moon.
Motherfucker, I should have made there's a drink called the Pink Goose. And it's got watermelon vodka and I want to say cranberry or something like that.
The pink moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, meteor showers. Anytime there was something weird happening in the sky, ancient people were like, "Oh shit, we're doomed. The gods are mad. Oh no, or it's a bad omen. Something's gonna happen." Oh yes, right. If you're listening, sorry, we have chat going. But it's called the pink moon, not because it turns pink or anything. Moon never changes unless there's a mooner eclipse. Why isn't it called a lunar eclipse? A lunar eclipse where it will turn red, but that's due to our atmosphere. The moon itself isn't actually turning red.
Dude, like, I mean, this is when you're doing an astronomy show that's like a burlesque show, where it's like lunar eclipse, Orion's baby maker, the Big Dicker.
Oh my God. Yeah. An astronomy, the night sky burlesque show.
A trademark, whatever the legal. We did it. We did it.
Eclipse burlesque.
We did it.
Anyway, it's called the pink moon because I had a hair on it. It marks appearance of moss pink or like pink moss or wild ground phlox, which are the first of the spring flowers. I guess pink moss.
Have you ever seen pink moss?
Maybe. I don't know. We live in a more mossy place, so maybe we'll see some pink moss now, which is cool. But last but not least of the events, April 22nd, so go back in day from from the eclipse, or from the, what we're talking about, full moon. It's Earth Day! So we can celebrate the Earth on April 22nd. Now, something cool you can see is, okay, if you look at the sunset in the west, and then you turn around to the east. Okay, you'll see a band of pink or orange with a bluish band underneath, and that band will move upwards following the sunset to form an arch that then eventually fades as night settles in.
What? Yeah,
and this, yes, I'm gonna get to it. It's in the notes. That's why I'm talking about it. There's a dark blue band, the dark blue part, that is Earth's shadow rising, and this is known as the Belt of Venus. No relation to the planet Venus, but related to Venus, the goddess, or Aphrodite, the girdle, like her girdle, I guess. I don't know, but that's what I can find. Is that it's really says named of like for the girdle of Aphrodite. So that's a fun little, effect of sunset.
This obviously, what I'm about to say is not for everybody, because we live in a particular place where to our east, we can see mountains. In fact, we see the Lonely Mountain. I don't know if we need to take a drink, but take a drink. But it is a mountain that we call the Lonely Mountain only because it is by itself in this window of trees that we can see. But I do enjoy seeing Earth's shadow on those mountains, where you can see as literally as time is going by, you can actually watch the Earth's shadow go up. But yeah, it's really cool. That sandwich has not helped.
There's always some pizza. There's always some pizza you can go to.
But I did have some of those little eggs your mom's got.
Yeah, because that's really gonna do
those little chocolate eggs.
Okay. Just a common sense note out there: always drink responsibly, and pad your stomach with some carbs before you imbibe in the liquor. Anyway, like I did with pizza, like some homemade ravioli.
And handmade.
I said handmade. I said handmade.
Oh, okay.
Handmade, homemade. Homemade is also handmade.
Right, but it felt like I shouldn't have said handmade.
It's the hand told maiden's tale. Anyway, space news.
Is this the first one? Is my drink the first one? We have to get like.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you. You marinate. You marinate.
You gotta let me do my thing. Isn't that what you said?
Space.com, Shiva and Shakti, the ancient star streams that helped weave the Milky Way. So here's what's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
The Gaia Space Telescope tracks the movements of billions of stars in the galaxy, and what astronomers have found with this is they found two ancient streams of stars that have seemed to have like woven together over 12 billion years ago. 12 billion years ago.
The universe.
2 billion years after the
Not even.
BB.
Not even.
Less than it's less than 2
But
billion.
we'll get into that a little bit more later.
So they're so old that they likely formed before the spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. They're named after the two Hindu gods that created the universe, Shiva and Shakti, according to the Hindu religion. And they're basically like the foundation of our galaxy. They're like proto-galactic fragments is what they're called, which is just cool. Proto-galactic fragments. That's a good drink name, maybe.
That's a good one.
Drink name. So they're...
Or a good punk band name. In which would all the punks be like, what the fuck?
They're close to the center of the Milky Way with similar orbital trajectories, and each stream contains a mass of around 10 million suns.
Okay.
And they're thought to be between 12 and 13 billion years old, and they're metal poor. So this indicate metal poor.
Well, hold on. No, 13 to 14?
12 to 13.
Oh, 12.
They're metal poor, so this indicates that they had formed before a lot of the heavy elements had been seeded in the universe from supernova explosions.
Right. So in astronomy, anything that is any atomic thing that is greater than helium is considered a metal.
So you're...
Yeah, and so when we say when we say that something is lithium, which
I think
lithium is Big Bang.
Yeah, but iron.
All of that stuff that you need a star to go through its life to actually create. So hydrogen, when we say that it is metal poor,
it's primarily hydrogen and helium.
Hydrogen and helium. So you're talking very old.
Yes.
Very, very, very old.
Yeah.
Primordial.
Well, and they're they're very old stars that were around helping form our galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. So that's just some new observations from the Gaia Space Telescope. In other news from Science Daily, new research suggests, oh God, this might be hard for you,
No,
that
it's pretty easy,
there's no dark matter. What? Or dark energy for that matter.
Yeah, I know, right?
This study comes from the University of Ottawa. By Rajendra P. Gupta is the primary on this study, and basically is saying that so dark matter is anything that appears to not interact with light or the electromagnetic spectrum force.
Gravity's the only thing it can
fields. Or that can only be explained through gravitational force. So Rajendra Gupta, he's a physics professor at the Faculty of Science at the University of Ottawa. He used a combination. Distinguished.
Which apparently is a title you can just throw out.
Okay. He used a combination of like theories. I don't know. My brain started to kind of like, I was like, I don't have the educational levels to really go through this.
He combined two things.
Yes. He combined covariant coupling constraints and tired light theories.
Right. So the first one, the whole covariant thing basically just means that the constants of physics aren't constant. So like the strengths of forces, strong forces, things like that, change over time.
So like the forces of nature decrease over cosmic times, and light loses energy as it travels very long
That's all it means.
distances. So he says This is a quote from him. In standard cosmology, the accelerated expansion of the universe is said to be caused by dark energy, but is in fact due to the weakening forces of nature as it expands, and not due to dark energy. And he also had a previous study basically saying that the age of the universe is actually 26.7 billion years old, and this ties into that. It allowed them to discover that the universe does not require dark matter to exist.
Right.
If the universe is that old, because then you have this like decaying, the light gets tired. Shit gets tired.
Right.
How do you feel about this?
Okay.
What are your
Well, first of
thoughts?
all,
Fancy physics man.
to be completely transparent to what Gupta, his hypothesis, you have to basically put those numbers in to get it all to work out, which is something that, you know, a lot of physicists and all that just detest. It's not. It doesn't mean that Gupta necessarily is wrong. But when you have to start putting in numbers to make it work,
Okay, then it gets a little like,
yeah,
you're forcing,
And
you're
so,
forcing the result. A little bit.
exactly. And there's a lot of physicists that really do not like that.
Yeah.
And it comes down to Occam's razor: is there a simpler explanation to it, or do I have to really fudge stuff? And it's going to be the simpler explanation. But also, to Gupta's thing where he's saying that you know, constants in physics change over time, which is not a new concept. And also tired light is not new. That goes all the way back to 1928, 1929 with Mr. Fritz Zwicky. Yeah. And the problem is that there is absolutely no evidence for either one of those. So when we look at the universe, as far back as we can see,
with the
that
cosmic
we don't see any
CMB.
change, especially like even with the Earth, looking back billions of years where we have actual like rock data, there is no change in, you know, strengths of, or there's no change in values of what are considered physical constants of the universe. And so there's no proof of it. Also, tired light makes predictions that even Zwicky was like, it doesn't seem right. So tired light historically has been used to validate the steady state universe, and they have tried to use it in the past to say the Big Bang never happened. So there's also absolutely no proof for tired light, which means my drink, I'm tired of tired light because it comes up every so often. And
Every now and then, it
Every now and then.
rears its tired head.
so, I don't think Gupta's right, but
It's something to explore.
I am so far removed from all of this
Right.
that my opinion doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, though, Gupta's ideas are going to force the entire rest of the astronomical and physics community to kind of re-examine, you know, what they believe. And it's not a bad thing for people to come up with these ideas, even though they're incorrect, because because it's so far out of the box that it makes the conventional people
People
have
thought
to
quantum was batshit.
Yeah, and so
You know, and there's always this like, even if it is kind
you know
of,
what?
you know,
And to be honest, even with physics, so if you look at physics with the standard model of physics, you have to fudge that a little bit to make it look like the universe that we see today. And so that means the standard model at the end of the day is not correct, but it's so fucking successful in, you know, making predictions about how things work and stuff like that. So it doesn't mean that Gupta is wrong, but there's a big burden of proof for him to prove it. Also, he recognizes that really he has no proof at this point.
Yeah.
And they're going to look for it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not. So that's the main thing. This
Is
really.
it just Nobel fishing? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, if it proves to be correct,
Yeah, that definitely Nobel Prize.
this is Nobel Prize because
any-
it completely upends what we have thought. But this is born out of James Webb, and James Webb took some pictures, saw some galaxies that appeared to be more developed than they should be at that particular age of the universe. And so this is an attempt to explain that. I don't think it's right to double the age of the universe. It just seems off.
Yeah. Well,
Especially when there's so much evidence from, observation. Also, with tired light, you should have galaxies in the early universe should be really quite fuzzy. And we don't see that. We can get really sharp images with like James Webb and shit like that. And so even CwC was like 100 years ago was like, that we're not seeing the fuzziness. And so this is probably not right. But, go for it. Give that. I mean, if it ends up being right, then I follow the data, and if it's right, then
it's right.
let's,
I mean, it's always
send
worthy
them
to
the-
explore. I mean, this is what science is about. It's about exploring these and trying to understand the things that we don't fully understand, and even the things that we do, we don't have all the full understanding for. We don't. If there are still things, like you said, you still have to fudge a little bit to get things to look how it does today. So
Yeah.
there's still stuff we don't know, which is why dark matter and dark energy, it's like, okay, there's something there that we can't see, that we don't know what it is, but it has to account for all this extra mass in galaxies, or the acceleration of the universe, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we don't know what dark matter and dark energy is, and so Gupta might be correct, but it just
You gotta have the proof.
you have to have the data, and it has to be backed up by data.
Yeah.
And he's making an extraordinary claim, and when you make an extraordinary claim, you have to have extraordinary data, and to back it up.
Or a fistful of datas.
Fistful of data. Oh, shit, too bad that's not
That's
a great episode.
Star Trek is not a drinking rule.
It's a great episode, by the way. And if you're unsure about Fistful of Datas, it's where Worf and Alexander do the holodeck, and there's all these datas that are like cowboys. It was a great episode.
Anyway, moving on. All right, I just want to also, with that article, I just want to just a little thing of a PSA, a public service announcement, because this article, I saw it just everywhere.
Yeah,
News
taking a life.
It took like its own headlines. There's no dark matter, no dark energy. New study reveals blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, it's not. It's one study in one journal, basically, and so that then got kind of overblown in regular media, that it's not saying that it's accurate or anything. It's just like, it was just a study.
Can I quote a true poet of world history?
You may.
To quote the incredible poet Flava Flav, don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype.
And so, yeah, don't believe the hype. If you see a sensational headline, most likely it's not what you think it is. But if you really do have questions, then look for other sources, reputable sources, and you can always ask us. We'll tell you. Send us a message.
I was gonna wait. Let me see if I can throw this joke in here. That's what. Do you know how Putin views himself? Reputable. And if you want more on this article, on this study, it is called Testing CCC plus TL Cosmology with Observed Baryon Acoustic Oscillation Features in the Astrophysical Journal 2024 9641:55 DOI, and then some other numbers that are its DOI number. Anyway, There you go. Next, phys.org.
Should we put it in chat? I mean,
According to phys.org, astronomers find evidence that blue supergiant stars can be formed by the merger of two stars.
oh, that makes sense.
Okay,
that makes
so
sense.
this was led by the Instituto de Astrofísica de Canarias, the IAC. I guess I don't know. Athira Menon is the lead of an international team that did computational and observational, an international team of computational and observational astrophysicists. They
Okay.
simulated detailed models of stellar mergers and analyzed a sample of 59 early B-type blue supergiants in the Large Magellanic Cloud. And B-type blue supergiants. These are very luminous, very hot stars. Okay, very massive stars. And the current lore, the current thought of is that they would occur during a very rapid phase of evolution. But that being the case, they should be rarely seen. However, we see a lot of them. And so then it's like, well, why then?
Okay.
If they should be rarely seen because of this like just crazy fast evolution, why are we seeing so many of them? So their study basically, what we know is that most massive stars are binary pairs. They're binary systems, basically, but these blue supergiants, they're all single. They're all single stars. So they simulated mergers of evolved giant stars with smaller stellar companions over a wide range of varying parameters. And they found that stars born from such mergers have greater success in reproducing the surface composition of the blue type supergiants that we see. And so this may actually be the main way that these blue supergiants are formed, is through mergers. So they were once of binary pairs that merged together and formed a bigger star.
I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, yeah, if I eat another person, I'm gonna get bigger.
Right, right. But it's also easier to make those smaller people.
That's true. That's true.
It's easier for the universe to make the smaller
The
stars.
smaller ones together, rather than all this energy and
make the bigger
material that's needed to make a bigger star.
Right. That's why you see in the universe more red dwarfs than other stars.
It takes more energy to get bigger. So the next part of their study then is to attempt to explore how these blue supergiants explode and contribute to the black hole neutron star landscape of the universe. So their step one was make the mergers happen. Step two, what happens when they explode?
Right. So all right. Also, all right. When they say you see a lot of these B stars. It's not like you see a lot of them. It's just that there's more of them.
There's more you should see based on the current like cosmological ideas of how they should of
how things work,
stars form and everything.
So cool. And so with it's easier to make smaller stars. But those stars generally are going to be in stable orbits, and so it's going to be rare. Yeah, I can get behind this. This is
all right. This is Fancy Physics Man approved research.
Yeah, I'm
take that, Gooped.
I'm sure that these people are like, oh well, that's the stamp of approval. We love it. And yeah, okay, I can get behind this. I like this. I need a bagel.
You do. Bit of astronomy news. And it also ties into this ties into astronomy events for April. Is the Devil Comet.
Oh,
becometh.
Oh, I read about this. Yes.
Okay. So 12P Pons Brooks, which is referred to as the Devil Comet due to horn-shaped explosions of ice and gas. Actually, explosive outbursts were viewed. That came from a cryovolcano in July of 2023. So this comet has an ice volcano on its surface, I guess. And it had an explosive outburst, and it resulted in streams of gas and dust coming off of the comet, giving the impression that it has like two horns, but also kind of resembles the Millennium Falcon, apparently. So I guess take a drink because I haven't said any Star Wars thing for a long time, but that's just
They
it's a
should have gone
fact.
with that one though.
The devil comet, the falcon comet, I don't know. Well, comets throughout history have
Hans-
always been seen as Hans comet. Comets have always been seen as like bad omens and all that, so
Okay,
play into it.
can we get back to this? Has a cryovolcano? It's big enough to have a cryovolcano,
Oh, it's the size of Everest.
but big enough to have a cryovolcano.
And it had an explosive outburst.
My thought would be that this would be solid through and through, and that you wouldn't. Well, yeah, but the only reason why they have tails is because.
But I guess that sublimation and the unsublimation, I forget what it's called.
But my thought is cryovolcanoes have nothing to do with sublimation.
Right. Well, look, I'm just reading what I've read online, okay? And everything you read online is correct. But this did come from
an answer for it, but
I think I got this out of there's various websites that have covered it. I got this one from Newsweek. Makes a difference. Anyway, it's the size of Everest. It will reach its closest point to the sun on April 21st, which it'll appear brightest in our skies in the weeks approaching that date.
Celebrate the Earth and look
exactly.
at
So currently, basically, it's flying through the constellation of Pisces. It'll move through Aries, and then on the 21st, it will be in the constellation of Taurus. It will be best visible in the evenings from the northern hemisphere. It'll be close to the west-northwest horizon, but you are going to need binoculars to see it. It's not like a bright comet like you see in all those fancy comet photos where it's like.
Well, so we have a shot.
We can see it, maybe. Yeah.
We have a shot.
We don't have binoculars. No. But you need binoculars to see it. And it will, by June 2nd, it will fly by Earth at 144 million miles away.
144?
144
million miles. So that's basically from the sun to Mars. Away from us.
Maybe I read that wrong, but anyway.
No, 100. I mean, it makes sense.
Okay.
It makes sense.
It's not gonna get close to us.
It's not gonna get close to us.
But anyway, so if you want to check out the Devil Comet, then now's the time to try and check it out, or at least further into April, by at least up to April 21st is the best time.
Okay. First, all right. 2 comments. One's a comment. One's a question.
One's a comment.
One's a comment. And what's the question? The comment is that if you just look at it through a telescope or binoculars, it's not going to look like a devil at this point. But, so just know that.
It'll be a fuzzy ice ball.
It'll be a fuzzy ice ball. But my question, completely rhetorical, is how many Southern Baptists are freaking out because it's called the Devil's Comet? Comet. And they're like, oh, God, save us from this.
I mean, that just goes with, devils get a bad rap, but comets get a bad rap. So, but you know what? We always say, science be wild.
It's be wild.
Or full of devilry. Lastly, before we end this April High in the Sky episode and move on to the Hangovers Messier Marathon, we do have an in memoriam. And we would like to cheers to Tom Stafford. Cheers. This is an astronaut that passed away at the age of 93 after a long illness, but also he was 93, so lived a long, good life. He flew to space 4 times and orbited the moon. As part of the Gemini and Apollo missions, Gemini 6 and 9 and Apollo 10. However, he is most known for being a peacemaker with the Soviets. He's known for the U.S.-Soviet orbital handshake in 1975, which was his last flight. Him and cosmonaut Alexei Leonov, as the Apollo and Soyuz capsules rendezvoused together in their first joint mission. There's a photo of them in their the airlock or whatever, the docking, and shaking hands with each other. In fact, he spent, I forget how many months, but months learning Russian in order to be able to, conversate. And he was a big advocate for those peaceful relations, and that all the countries, like, we really need to, like, work together.
Yeah, we need more of that.
For space. And this event,
Interesting
apparently this event is what then kind of officially ended the space race between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. He says, in quote, "We proved that two countries with different languages, differing units of measurement, certainly vast different political systems could work together to achieve a common goal." And now there are only 8 remaining astronauts alive from the lunar program. So Ad Astra, Tom Stafford, thank you for your service.
Yeah, good. We got good things.
Good dink. Good. Some good. Anyway, I was gonna try to make a Peter Dinklage joke out of that. Anyway,
We got good dinklages.
that's our episode of Cosmos High in the Sky for April 2024. Thank you guys for joining us. Lots of exciting events happening this month. Of course, the solar eclipse. By the way, if you're not in anywhere remotely near where the solar eclipse's path is going to be, there will be streams online. You can watch it online. It's not the same as witnessing it in person, but it's still cool to see nonetheless. So you can go online. I'm sure NASA will have one. Usually, like, there's like some like slew observatory or something that usually does like a live stream
like
of these kind of things.
But when we had the annular that went right over our house and it was cloudy, NASA had, or somebody, I think it was
they had a
NASA,
stream. They always usually have a stream, so you can check those out. But also check out The Hangover with Cosmos. We will be going into that after a quick break here. But if you're not with us live now, you can check out The Hangover on our YouTube channel, Cosmos with Cosmos. Of course, follow us on all the things at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter and Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else, Spotify. I guess there's no more Google Podcasts, but Apple Podcasts, I don't know, whatever. Whatever you want to listen to us, whatever you want to watch us, check us out, and we'll see you
in 2 weeks.
Time.
See you in 2 weeks. Cheers, everybody.
Bye, everybody. And if you're with us live, stick around. We will be back for The Hangover once I figure out how to manipulate our things here. Be right back. They can still hear us. And now they can't. We're muted. We're
and
unmuted. Where's
purple thing.
chat? Where's the chat? Oh my gosh, I swear. I tested this earlier and it was fine. Now I can't.
Can you just move the chat over there?
No, because it's not in a thing. Crikey. Let's see. Let me do a little. This is why it's the hangover. It's just for, being goobers. Okay. Okay, you know what? Shoot. All right, I gotta fix this and then it'll look weird, but you gotta give me a second.
Yeah, 1 second.
Give me a second. Okay, you're gonna see something that's just a chat window. It's gonna look like nothing. You're not seeing anything. Let's do this. Now you see still nothing. Okay. I don't know why that's not showing up. It was showing up earlier.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you know what? We'll just do this. All right.
Drink, everybody.
Just drink, because that's the way that... this is the fellowship version. This is where... Let's try this again. All right. Anyway.
I need to take a few bites.
Well, we're in the hangover now, without our usual hangover window, because it's broken for some reason. That's fun. Anyway, where's the iPad?
Yeah.
Oh, this is why we should cancel episodes when we can't on location these very well, can we? All right. So, if you have seen the main episode, our main High in the Sky of April 2024, we mentioned that in this episode of The Hangover, we are going to do what's called the Messier Marathon. Because April is basically there was a date in March as well, but there's a night where a window where you can find all 100 Messier objects that are visible at night, or all of them.
Should we say what the catalog is?
I will. Okay. The best night for 2024 is April 6th. That is your Messier Marathon night. There was another one in March, but we're past March now. Well, technically, recording this, we're not, but, for all intents and purposes, April 6th. So these are deep sky objects that were cataloged by Charles Messier in the 18th century. You do need, hold on, you got a little bagel crumb. That's marriage. You got a little, for these, you're going to need binoculars or small telescope in order to find them. Also, this isn't something that anybody could just do. Usually this is for amateur astronomers that know kind of where they're looking and what they're looking for. It takes some practice to find these objects in the sky. But we thought it was fun to talk about because I had never heard about the Messier Marathon before. And it was actually invented in the 1970s by 3 amateur astronomers, Donald Machholz, Tom Hoffelder, and Tom Ryland. They independently challenged themselves to catch all Messier objects in one night. And thus the marathon was born. Astronomy clubs, they typically organize an event for it. So you can check out. Yeah, it's an all. It takes endurance, stamina. It's not an easy thing to do.
You need caffeine drinks.
You definitely do. But you could look up, your local astronomy club, or if there's star parties in the area that may be doing one. And maybe it's open to the public, and you can go and check out some of the sites. Typically, the star parties are, and they look, amateur astronomers. If they have a telescope and they're at star parties, they love to tell you about the shit that they can find in their telescope. They will just go on about whatever it is that you're looking at through the telescope.
I mean, it's a passion and love.
Yeah, they get very excited about it. So now some of these do require no moon to see. So April 6th, we're pretty close to the new moon because the new moon is on the 8th with the solar eclipse. So it's a good time to view these objects.
And when the moon does rise, it's a very thin sliver.
It's a crescent moon rising. All right. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know how exciting this is going to be. I'm just going to kind of go through the list of the Messier Marathon from like I guess the order in which that it's best to go in based on this website that I found of Messier-objects.com.
Let's do it.
All right, Fancy Bagel Man.
Oh god, so good.
Number 1, Messier 77.
Okay, but hold on.
Oh,
Okay, Charles Messier, Chuck
Messier?
Chuck Mess.
Chuck Mess.
He, like Liz says, 1700s. He was a comet hunter, and so when you look at when you look for comets, you look for the little fuzzy objects. He got so tired of finding fuzzy objects that weren't comets that he decided to
write them down because he was like, God damn it!
Yeah, pretty much. And so he's best known for his list of 110 objects than he is for any comets he discovered. And it's called the Messier catalog.
I mean, I would take my name forever in history versus.
I'm sure that he's
happy. He's not rolling over in his grave.
No, I'm sure he's happy.
All right, the Messier Marathon observing list. Get ready. Mark your telescopes. Get set. Mark your azimuths.
Okay.
No. So the first one, Messier 77, the Squid Galaxy.
Ooh, isn't it like a squid?
I don't know. It's in the constellation of Cetus, which is the sea monster from Clash of the Titans, the Kraken.
It makes sense that you would have a squid with a Cetus.
It's the Greek version. This is a barred spiral galaxy.
So it does not look like a squid.
So it does not look like the squid. It's just south of the circle of stars that outline the head of Cetus. So Cetus is a pretty dim constellation. Again, a Starfinder app on your phone or whatever can help you find these things, but it's located just south of that circle and can be seen with a small telescope. The next one is Messier 74. The Phantom Galaxy. Now, I just like some of the names on these things. So if it's boring, maybe I won't read it. But the Phantom Galaxy, it's in the constellation of Pisces. This is a spiral galaxy. And it's east-northeast of the brightest star in Pisces, which is known as Alphyrg. Alphyrg. I've never...
It's a butler.
Alfred. It's the small bright nucleus and faint halo of N74 are visible in small telescopes. Now I have seen. I don't know if it's on this list. I don't know if it would be on this list, but I have seen, it is, so I will talk about it when we get to it, of course it would be. The third object is Messier 33, the Triangulum.
More to go.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll go through all these. I don't know what my plan was really with this, but Messier 33 is the Triangulum galaxy. Okay. It's in the constellation Triangulum, which is... I'm going to assume a triangle. It's 7 degrees southwest of the second brightest star in the Triangulum galaxy. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I guess it's by the constellation of Andromeda, the Triangulum galaxy. It's kind of in between, like, Aries. It's like kind of in the middle. It's in the middle of Perseus, Andromeda, Pisces, and Aries. They kind of all. Yes, but you'll be able to see it in the. Next, we have the Andromeda Galaxy, Messier 31. Okay, we have both seen the Andromeda Galaxy through a telescope. It looks like a faint cotton ball.
Yeah, but still spectacular when you realize what it is.
Yes, it's really cool to actually see, and when you can see it with the naked eye. You don't need a telescope for the Andromeda Galaxy. You want to look at it out of kind of your side eye. You want to side eye it a little bit because you actually see it better. It's a weird quirk of optics in your eyeball, but through a telescope,
it's a weird quirk of biology.
And it looks like a faint smudge with your eyes, but then through a telescope, it looks like a fuzzy cotton ball. And you're not seeing the entire galaxy. This galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, is twice as big as our galaxy? And it's headed towards us, as we talked about many times, that our galaxy and Andromeda Galaxy are going to collide.
At 80 miles a second is heading towards us. Run!
Because they're going to collide in about, a few billion years from now. About the same time the sun starts turning into a red giant and expands out beyond the orbit of Mars. So we'll see what our priorities are at that point. But really, when galaxies collide, nothing really kind of happens because stars are so spread apart that they just kind of, most of them pass by each other before those galaxies eventually merge into one larger galaxy. I'm going to skip some of these that don't have names. The 9th one on the list is Messier 76.
But you can still say M30 something.
Oh, okay. All right. So number 5, M32 in Andromeda. Number 6, M110 in Andromeda. Number 7, M52 in Cassiopeia, Andromeda's mother.
Yeah.
Number 8, M103 in Cassiopeia. And number 9, M76, the Little Dumbbell Nebula.
Little dumbbell.
It's in the constellation of Perseus, which Cassiopeia, Andromeda, Perseus, typically fall-time constellations, all part of the same Clash of the Titans story. Go watch the 1989 version of the movie. It is about 1 degree northwest of the... What's Phi in Greek?
What? Psi?
Phi. Phi. Phi.
Phi?
What number is that? Not the brightest star in Perseus.
But it's a letter.
But I thought that was like the order of like alpha,
so
beta.
alpha. Okay.
So that's what I'm.
I don't.
Okay, it's not the brightest star in Perseus. It's close to the border of with Andromeda constellation. There. Next, number 10, M34 in Perseus. Number 11, this is an easy one. In fact, you don't need binoculars. You don't need a telescope. The 11th is M45, the Pleiades.
Hey.
In Taurus the Bull, it looks like a little mini little micro dipper of stars, the Seven Sisters as it's also known, or if you're Japanese, Subaru. In fact, the logo of Subaru vehicles, notice they are stars, and that represents the Pleiades. Although there are hundreds of stars in this open star cluster, we see about the 7 brightest with our naked eye. But pop some binoculars on your eyeballs or a telescope, just screw it right onto your eyeball, and you can see more stars in that star cluster.
Phi is 21.
21st brightest star in
It's pretty much
yeah. So that's always a fun one that I love to find. I love looking for the Pleiades and seeing the Pleiades because it's just absolutely cool to see. Number 12, M79 in Lepus, the hare. It's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit constellation. Number 13. This one's for us. It's M42, the Orion Nebula, a big baby maker. Orion's baby maker, located in his sword, conveniently. It is a large nebula, star-forming region of clouds of gas and dust where stars are forming.
Did you call it his baby maker?
Yeah.
In the show?
I think I have in like an adults night out Sky show.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do it in an adults night out when there's adults and liquor involved. I'll make a joke about it being its baby maker, and I'll always get some chuckles out of it. Although when I accidentally called the Big Dipper the Big Dicker, that was in a show with children, and I continued as if nothing happened, and internally I was like, crap.
But it's like, if they say something, it's like, I didn't say that. What do you got going on in your brain?
Like, I paused for a second, and there were some chuckles, and I think I was like, well, and then I just continued going. Number 14 is M43. I've never heard of this one before. It's in the constellation of Orion. It's called De Marans Nebula. Day, like day, Cinco de Mayo, day, Mairan''S, Marans Nebula. Okay, so it's part of the larger Orion Nebula. It's separated from M42, the Orion Nebula, by a dark dust lane and appears north of the main nebula and is visible in binoculars and small telescopes. Its dark wispy features on its eastern border can only be seen in an 8-inch or larger telescope.
Okay.
So, you need to get your big guns out.
So if you're gonna do a marathon, you need a big telescope.
Yeah, anybody participating in this marathon is gonna have probably a telescope that's worth a couple $1,000s at least. Doing this. Number 15 is M78, also in Orion. It's a reflection nebula. M41 is next as number 16 in Canis Major, the big dog. It's an open cluster of stars by about 4 degrees south of Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. Number 17 is M93 in the constellation of Puppis.
All right.
Pupus? Puppis?
Sure.
Pupus?
Sure. I don't know.
I don't remember what Puppis is. Pupus is.
Don't turn off the power strip.
Oh,
Leia.
God, Leia. Be careful with those.
All right, if we cut out.
It's because Leia knocked the power strip. Number 18 is M47, also in Pupus.
Sure.
And also an open star. There's a lot of open star clusters in Pupus. M46 is next. M50 in the constellation Monoceros. Ceros meaning horn, and mono meaning one.
So it's a what?
A unicorn. It's also an open cluster.
And it's tickling over. But
it is.
At least in the picture.
In the pictures. Number 21 is M48 in the constellation of Hydra, also an open cluster of stars. Now here's a goodie and an oldie. Number 22 is Messier numero uno.
Ooh.
The Crab Nebula. Is it a supernova? Yeah. A supernova remnant. A big star that went big bada boom. Seen in 1064 BCE.
Yeah, it was like a hand print from
God?
New Mexico.
Oh, the Anasazi.
Yeah, Anasazi.
Is it the Anasazi? And they broke. Yeah, in fact, there's astronomical records in China and the Anasazi.
New Mexico.
That recorded it, and so they were able to actually compare those and the dates of them and realize that they saw the exact same event, and it was this supernova, where it was visible in the night sky and lasted in the sky for, I want to say it was like about 30 days or something that it was visible, but I can't remember the exact.
Yeah, during the daytime you could spot it. Mm-hmm. So how come they didn't put like the Crab Nebula, something like crab related in Cancer, and for like M1 have some sort of like bull related thing, like you could put like the bullshit nebula? I mean,
well, I don't know.
You have to think.
I don't know. It's just a crab. It doesn't even look like a crab. I don't even know why it's called the Crab Nebula.
Oh, but there's like amazing Hubble imagery of the Crab Nebula, where but they would do like get a picture of the crab, and then I don't know, a few days later, whatever it was, they would get another picture, and they created this this video where you could see like the pulsar pulsing through the nebula.
Yeah. In fact, for one of my community college astronomy class, one of the projects we had to, one of the things I chose, I think it was, what's it? V838 Monoceros or something. And
black hole.
I had to calculate and you could see the difference in the expansion of like the gases or so, or how it changed over time. I had to calculate or do something with that. I don't know. I think I didn't get a good grade on it. But anyway.
You got a good grade.
All right. Number 23 is Messier 35 in Gemini, an open cluster. Number 24 is Messier 37 in Auriga, the eagle, an open cluster. Number 25, Messier 36, the pinwheel cluster, not the pinwheel galaxy.
Auriga. He was a charioteer.
Auriga's the charioteer. Yes.
I thought you said the eagle.
I am dumb, and the eagle is
that is
Aquila the eagle, Aquila the eagle. Auriga is the charioteer. That's right. That is an open star cluster, the pinwheel cluster. In number 26, M38, the starfish cluster.
Hey.
Also in Auriga, it's an open cluster. And number 27 is M44, the Beehive cluster. You can't go anywhere near that because you're allergic. It's an open cluster.
But if you do look at it,
it's in the constellation of Cancer.
Right.
That's your star sign. It's got to mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but I think if you do look at it through a telescope or something, like it would appear.
It looks like a hive of bees.
Yeah, like yeah,
a swarm of bees.
I think that's how it's got its name.
In good conditions, it's visible to the unaided eye between the sickle of Leo the Lion, and a star called Alhena in Gemini.
Okay.
Number 28 is M67.
I love how they put other constellations to spot it because Cancer is just so.
Cancer's dim. Cancer's not a bright, not a bright crab. It's a very dim crab. Number 28 is M67 in Cancer, also an open cluster. Number 29, M95 in the Leo 1 group in the constellation of.
It'd be great if it was like around.
Leo the Lion. This is a barred spiral galaxy, and it's in a group along with M96 and M105. And this group is about a third of the way from Regulus, which check out our main episode, and you'll learn a little bit more about Regulus. A third away from Regulus to Denebula. So also check out our main episode for more on those. Okay, so that means then number 30 is M96 in the Leo 1 group, and M31 is M105 in the Leo 1 group. And then number 32 is M65, which is the Leo triplet, which we also talked about in the main episode. These spiral galaxies of M65, M66, and not a Messier object, but NGC 3628 from the New General Catalog.
Yeah. Oh, New General Catalog.
And number 36 is M66 of the Leo triplet. Number 34 is M81 Bode's Galaxy in Ursa Major, the Big Bear. So I guess the galaxies M81 and M82, which is number 35 on the list, they're, I guess, kind of pretty close together in a field of view. The M82 being known as the Cigar Galaxy, because this one actually, it does look like a cigar being smoked. Number 36 on the list is M97, the Owl Nebula in Ursa Major. This apparently is one of the more challenging Messier objects to see. It requires exceptionally clear, dark skies and only appears as a dim patch of light. But the owl-like eyes in the nebula only appear in 10-inch and larger instruments. So that's a big challenge of the challenge. Number 37 is M108 in Ursa Major, a barred spiral galaxy. Number 38, what did I say before? Number 37. Number 38 is M109 in Ursa Major, a barred spiral galaxy. Number 39 is M40 Winnicke 4 in Ursa Major. It's a visual double star.
Oh, okay.
So that's different. So it can be found by first star hopping to okay, this means nothing. Never mind. This means nothing, whatever to say.
But I mean, it's a double star, so it's like, wow, Chuck, you thought that was a comet? And you were just so irritated with it that you were like, I'm gonna write this down.
Like, god damn it. Number 40, Messier 106 in Canis Valentici. Little dogs. They're the bear's dog. No, the Bote's dogs, right?
Yeah.
Bote's the bear herder, and his two dogs that helped him herd the big and little bears. Oh, bless you. Speaking of dogs, Leia sneezing. This is a spiral galaxy. Number 41 is M94, the Cat's Eye Galaxy.
Hey.
The Cat's Eye Galaxy, you need good observing conditions for it. Oh, number 42 is M63, the Sunflower Galaxy.
That looks like a sunflower.
It is a spiral galaxy.
That looks like a sunflower.
I guess.
Exactly
know.
like a sunflower.
Oh, here's a common one. Number 43 is M51, the Whirlpool Galaxy in
Is that Ursa
Canis
Major?
Venatici.
Ursa Major, hey. Oh, wait a minute,
No,
no.
Canis Venatici.
Little dog.
No,
Okay.
Sunflower Galaxy. No. They're both in
It's the
Canis
next one.
Venatici. The Whirlpool is in Canis Venatici. And number 44 in Ursa Major, the Pinwheel Galaxy,
Yeah.
M101. M101. Spiral Galaxy, a large spiral galaxy, just above the Big Dipper's handle. Number 45 is M102 and Draco, the dragon, not Draco from Harry Potter, but named after Draco the dragon. Draco in Harry Potter named after Draco the dragon.
Yeah, the whole family.
Yeah, the
whole
whole
black
family. Whole black family named after this guy. Number 46 is M53 in Coma Berenices, which is hair.
It is.
It's a constellation that is a head of hair.
It's Berenice's hair.
It's Berenice's hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Berenice's.
Berenice's.
Is her hair.
Yeah, she had the most luxurious, beautiful hair. And her husband went off to war, and she begged the gods to return her husband safely. And if they did return her husband safely, then they could have her hair.
I mean, what a sacrifice, because it's going to grow back.
I know, right? Her husband came back, returned safely from the war. I don't know what war, Peloponnesian War, I don't know. And Trojan War, I don't know, probably Trojan War. So her hair was then placed in the stars so everybody could admire its beauty forever. Maybe she didn't. Maybe they did some god magic and they were like, well, you can't grow any more hair. And she number 47 on the list is M64, the Black Eye Galaxy. Also in Coma Berenices. Hopefully she wasn't given a black eye for giving away her hair. This is a spiral galaxy.
But Jack's got the title song to hair just going through his head now.
Luckily, I do not know what the title song to hair is.
Hey, Federico's here.
Thanks. Would not be a consolation for our combs. Where was I? I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Number 49, Messier 98, also in Coma Berenices. I wouldn't think that Coma Berenices would have all of these.
Got a lot of hair.
Jeez, look, I wonder if I can show this to the camera.
You know what doesn't have hair? Holes.
You don't have any hairy black holes? Okay, so if anybody can get the ring light shadow out of the way. All those like red dots, those are all like Messier objects that are like in Coma Berenices, so it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them.
So Chuck,
such as number 50, M99, the Coma Pinwheel Galaxy. Number 51, M100, a Grand Design Spiral Galaxy in the Virgo cluster. Number 52, M85. Number 53, M84 in the constellation of Virgo.
Branching out.
Yeah. Number 54, M86, also in Virgo. I'm sorry, but okay. It appears almost exactly halfway between Denebula in Leo and Vindemiatrix.
Who?
Vindemiatrix.
Okay.
I've never heard of Vindemiatrix as a star, but apparently, according to this picture here, it looks like it's one of her hands as she's laying, and it's one of her hands, I guess.
I think you lost your...
Okay, now I get it. All right. Let's see. Number 55 is Messier 87 Virgo A.
And guys, we're only halfway through this.
Getting there. It's a super giant elliptical galaxy. Number 56 is M89 in the constellation of Virgo, an elliptical galaxy.
So Virgo's making some money.
I think she's usually seen like with like wheat or something, but she's a fair maiden and they do all kinds of, harvesting. Number 57 is M90 in Virgo, a spiral galaxy. Number 58, M88, also in Coma Berenices, a spiral galaxy. Number 59, M91 in Coma Berenices, a barred spiral galaxy. So a barred spiral galaxy versus a spiral galaxy. Okay, a barred, our Milky Way is not a barred spiral galaxy.
is.
Is it a barred spiral? Oh, okay, so it looks like it has kind of like its central core is kind of like elongated.
Yeah, it's like it's got a bar going through it.
Yeah. It's got a piercing, one of those barbell pierces or
Yeah.
I don't know. Number 60, M58 in Virgo, another barred spiral galaxy. Number 61, M59 in Virgo, an elliptical galaxy. And an elliptical galaxy, which we've covered before, is kind of like, it doesn't have spiral arms like a spiral galaxy does. Kind of looks like a big football shape of stars.
Or a
really
rugby
big
ball.
one.
And
Rugby ball.
guess who's getting a wooden spoon in the sixth Santa? It is Wales.
It's
They did great this year. They did great this year.
That's our only sports reference we'll ever make. Number 62 is M60 in the constellation of Virgo, a giant elliptical galaxy. It is the brightest and easternmost Messier galaxy in the Virgo cluster.
Okay.
Number 63 is M49 in Virgo. Sorry, I got like cherry.
You're
That's
good.
like stuck on my tube. I got it. Number 64 is M61 in Virgo. Number 65 is M104, one of my favorite galaxies, the Sombrero Galaxy.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
Love the Sombrero Galaxy because the Sombrero Galaxy, it's a spiral galaxy, but we're looking at it disc on, basically, edge on. So you can see, that it just looks super cool. You can see like the edge of the galaxy, so it's like what our galaxy would look like if we could see it edge on. And it looks like a sombrero, like the brim of a sombrero, in the constellation. It lies near the border of with the constellation of Corvus the Crow. I'm sorry, I have to read this. And can be found using the stars of Spica's Spanker. Yes, that's the Sombrero Galaxy. So look at how beautiful that is. You see that disc there? And then the halo. Oh, God. It's just... Okay, yeah. Okay, so it lies near the border with the constellation of Corvus and can be found using the stars of Spica's Spanker, also known as the Sail, an astrosome formed by the brightest stars of Corvus.
Spica's Spanker?
Spica's Spanker. I guess that's what boat people call sails, maybe? Spankers. I
not the
don't
first thing that popped in my head.
know. But yeah. Number 66 is M68 in Hydra, a globular cluster, an old cluster of stars that are usually found in the halos of galaxies. I don't know why I made it sound so like dramatic and like ominous. Number 67 is M83, the southern pinwheel galaxy in the constellation of Hydra. Number 68 is M5, a globular cluster in Serpens Astrobedia. Gotta get that spank to Spica.
Spica Spanker.
Number 69, speaking of, M13, Hercules globular cluster in the constellation of Hercules.
Yeah, it'd be great if it was Orion.
This is the huge globular cluster. It can be visible to the unaided eye on a clear night. It looked like a little fuzzy kind of.
It's like,
well,
like where it would be.
Yeah, is it armpit?
Smash spider of a constellation. So, yeah. Hercules drawing it out like stick figure like
2-year-old drew it.
Yeah.
Really, it's just like
got like 3 legs.
If I drew it, to be honest, that's how I draw people. Number 70 is M92 in Hercules, another globular cluster. Number 71 is a goodie, M57, the Ring Nebula. This is a planetary nebula. This is what our sun could look like once it sheds off its outer layers and runs out of fuel and only the core remains. Next week. And in the constellation of Lyra, the Harp. Number 72 is M56, also in Lyra. This is a globular cluster. Number 73 is M29 in Cygnus, the Swan. It's an open cluster. Number 74 is M39 in Cygnus, another open cluster. Number 75 is M27, the Dumbbell Nebula.
Oh, really? You don't.
The Dumbbell Nebula, which looks like
Not like this.
in the constellation of Vulpecula. Why do we have dumbbells? Oh, because we're using them to weight down this tiny table that our microphone is attached to prevent the table from falling over, basically.
Because we are professionals.
It's how we do. Let's see. Number 76 is M71 in Sagitta. Sagitta. It's a globular.
It's a little arrow.
Okay. Number 77 is M12 in the constellation of Ophiuchus, the 13th zodiac sign that nobody wants. A globular
There
cluster.
will be a test after this, by the way.
Yeah. Number 78 is M10, also an Ophiuchus, a globular cluster. Number 79 is M14, also an Ophiuchus, and also a globular cluster. Then number 80 is M107, also an Ophiuchus and a globular cluster.
We're looking towards the center of the galaxy at this point.
Number 81 is M9 in Ophiuchus, a globular cluster. Number 82 is M4 in Scorpius, a globular cluster.
We're looking towards the center of the galaxy, guys. And these would be kind of fuzzy.
Number 83 is M80 in Scorpius, a globular cluster. Number 84 is M19 in Ophiuchus, a globular cluster. Number 85 is M62 in Ophiuchus, a globular cluster. Number 86 in M6 is the butterfly cluster. In
Nice.
Scorpius, a globular
Oh,
cluster.
it is?
No, it's an open cluster. Like the Pleiades.
Yeah.
Number 87 is Messier 7 Ptolemy cluster. It's an open cluster. Number 88 is M11, the wild duck cluster. There's so many
Organs
things I've
cluster.
never heard of.
Organs cluster.
What?
There's the duck. The organ duck.
I thought you were saying organ, like organ, internal organs cluster. And I
No,
was like, I don't know,
Oregon.
Oregon, yes, because the
Where we
Oregon
live.
ducks. The Oregon ducks. You know, I haven't seen a lot of ducks. I mean, I've seen some ducks, but anyway. All right. It is the most distant Messier open cluster visible to the unaided eye. Number 89 is M26 in the constellation of Scutum.
Scoop.
It's an open cluster. Number 9 is M16, the Eagle Nebula. The Pillars of Creation.
Well, we know who took that picture. Mr. Jeff Hester.
But then James Webb took it, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, but seriously, we know personally
We do.
who took the original picture.
Jeff Hester. But to see the famous Pillars of Creation, you need a telescope 12 inches and larger to see it. And this is a star-forming region, and definitely Google Eagle Nebula and Pillars of Creation, both Hubble and James Webb, and oh baby. You want some space porn, and that is it. Number 91 is M17, the Omega Nebula. It's actually in the same binocular field view as M16 and the open cluster M18. So a lot of these you can get like a bunch at once.
Yeah.
Basically. Number 92 is M18 in Sagittarius, open cluster. Number 93 is M24, the small Sagittarius star cloud. Just a small Sagittarius star cloud. I'm trying to see if it gives okay, no more information really. Number 94 is M25 in Sagittarius, an open cluster. Number 95 is M23 in Sagittarius, an open cluster. 96 is M21, Webb's Cross.
No relation, James.
No, or Madam Webb. Number 97 is M20, the Trifid Nebula. A Trifid? 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 Okay. Whatever. Tomato. Number 98 is M8, the Lagoon Nebula. I wonder how many creatures
It's just one. There's always
It's just
one
crea-
lagoon creature.
one creature from the Lagoon Nebula. Number 99 is M28 in Sagittarius. It's a globular cluster. Number 100, we're getting there. We're getting there, folks. Is M22 the Sagittarius cluster, a globular cluster. 101 is M69, globular cluster in Sagittarius. 102 is M70 in Sagittarius, a globular cluster. 103 is M54 in Sagittarius, a globular cluster. Number 104 is M55 in Sagittarius, a globular cluster. Number 105 is M75 in Sagittarius, a globular cluster. Number 106 is M15, the Great Pegasus cluster.
Not the lesser.
In
Great one.
the constellation of
Orion.
Pegasus.
Get it right.
It's a bright globular cluster. Number 107 is M2 in Aquarius, a globular cluster. Number 108 is M72 in Aquarius, a globular cluster.
So Chuck found a lot of globulars.
You found a lot of globs. A lot of globs. 109 is M73 in Aquarius. What? Wait, it's an asterism? The asterism M73 appears 1.5 degrees east of the globular cluster M72. The Y shape of the star pattern is visible in 4-inch and larger telescopes. The stars that form the asterism are too faint for small binoculars. So it's like a hidden asterism in the sky.
Okay, I mean that seems a little.
It doesn't count.
I guess it's not an open cluster, so you have to define it somehow.
So it's just like a pattern of stars that like you can't see normally.
Yeah, that I guess appeared fuzzy in telescope. Okay, I get it, but the whole asterism thing's a little weird.
Shenanigans on that one. Number 110.
Last one, everybody.
The final of the Messier Marathon is M30 in Capricornus. A globular cluster.
You got all the globs.
Got all the globs. Man.
So now you guys are set. You're ready to go. You know the order in which to go. You want me to take that? In which to go see Messier objects to win the Messier Marathon, to get a plaque.
April 6th.
Go lie down.
Do you really get a plaque?
I don't know what you get, but there's something.
How do you prove that you've done it? Timestamps on your photos if you take them?
I'm not so sure.
Is there a judge?
Take photos, but you have to.
There's Leia. Everybody. Leia's making her appearance.
I do think that you can get something.
You can get something
for completing
the Messier Marathon. You get, I mean, that'd be cool, like a little medal, a little certificate, just like, I've completed the Messier Marathon.
I mean, that's a good one to have.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is, you know, we say, you know, especially when we do our High in the Sky episodes, it's like, okay, these are springtime constellations, these are wintertime constellations. The Earth is a sphere and it's rotating. So really, you can see these constellations kind of all year long. They're just typically, when we refer to springtime constellations, they're up during like normal night hours to see them. You know, it's not something you need to stay up until like, you know, 3 a.m. to be able to see. They're up in more of the early evening hours to be able to see them. But I mean, if you go outside in summer, you know, you can, and it's way like at like 4 a.m. before sunrise, you know, you can see Orion still, and it's just setting and it's on its way out. So that's what allows you to be able to find these objects in one night. Is a entire evening event that you have to stay up for.
We're gonna do telescope before whatever date it is, April 6th.
Well, that's not going to happen.
No, it can happen. We are in.
I don't think either one of us would make it through.
We are
an
in
entire
civilization.
night.
Been to civilization.
We'd have to go to like a dark. I mean, we live in a dark area, but we have too many mountains, I think, and trees and stuff. Damn mountains.
We could go to Iowa because it's flat. What they would call mountains are just like a little anthill. Jack's got flat
That's
horizons.
true. That's true. That's true. I can't conceptualize a flat horizon because I've never really lived anywhere with a flat horizon. I guess Phoenix kind of had a flat horizon,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
but
With a little
yeah, yeah,
but no,
not
Phoenix
mountains.
did have.
Yeah,
It just didn't. It had light pollution, so it didn't
yeah,
have good night
yeah.
skies, but it had great horizons.
Yes, that's true. But regardless if you're, I mean, obviously this is not something that just the regular person is gonna go, even for us, is something that we're gonna go out and do. Um, oh, so Jack and his planetarium, he'd do the marathon 12 hours earlier in the planetarium. We could do it in the planetarium. Started at 6 a.m. The first three were always right on the sun, and the kids could come up during the day. The Y across the meridian. I mean, that's fun to do as a thing in the planetarium to do a Messier marathon
Yeah.
planetarium show. That's a really neat idea. I mean, I would say that going out to a star party, there's a big one apparently that happens in Oregon in the Ocotillo
July, right?
forest, a huge star party. But if you look up, local astronomy clubs or stargazing events and star parties, that kind of thing, I mean, seeing some of these objects through a telescope like the Andromeda Galaxy and the Ring Nebula, the Orion Nebula, they don't look like what you get in the Hubble or James Webb's pictures, obviously, because our eyes have a limited range of what they can actually see and as far as the electromagnetic spectrum goes. So a lot of
Oh, but
color and
also
stuff is
it
added in.
snaps. It snaps the picture.
Yeah, we don't have a long exposure period on our eyeballs, right? We can't just sit and stare and collect that light and have it, build up to create that image. So, but what you do see is still pretty amazing. I mean, when we saw the Orion Nebula through a telescope, when I saw it for the first time, and you can see these four stars in kind of the heart of the Orion Nebula, known as the trapezium. I mean, it was just so cool. It was still such an amazing thing to be able to see with your own eyes, that it's not just a picture. It's just like, oh wow, this shit is real out there in space. This astronomical, if you will, pun intended, distances away that you can't even really comprehend the
Right.
distances with our puny brains and real life experiences. So I 100% recommend, if you've never been to a star party or never seen any of these objects through a telescope, to check it out at some point, to do that at some point.
And the guys that are running they're gonna take care of you. They really.
Oh yeah, you'll always know what you're looking at. We had so much fun when we would take the telescopes for where the evil place we used to work at, to Alamo Lake State Park in Arizona, and we would take the scopes out there, and just having people come over and we just showing them like what they're looking at, and the amount of just like whoas and the oohs and ahs that you get from just seeing a little fluffy white ball of the Andromeda Galaxy,
Or
or just the wispiness of the Orion Nebula, and then explaining to them, hey, here's what you're seeing with your very own eyes. It was just amazing in itself and a nice reward. Jack on chat says Nebraska Star Party is really good. They're in the Dark Sky Reserve and 100 times more cows than people normally. I'm down for that. I want to go party with some moose. Let's go star party with some moose.
Yeah.
Just watch out for those moo patties.
Yeah, that's true.
They leave little desserts behind that you don't want to step in. Anyway, we have family to hang out with.
Family
Okay, you got family to call. You got a bagel to finish too.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have a bagel as well. We'll see. I got a drink and waiting still to get to. I think this has been fun. I know it's a lot of rambling and listing, not our typical hangover that we do, but I never heard of the Messier Marathon before. I didn't know about it. I didn't know there was a thing where you could see all these objects in one night. So I was like, let's just run through it and kind of see what it is. So thank you for joining us on our Messier Marathon hangover. I'm sure the next hangovers will be back to our usual nonsense shenanigans where we just ramble on about nothing
in 2 weeks
and still have a good time. So we'll see.
That'll be back in Oak Ridge.
Yes, we'll be back in our home studios, although I would say the internet's done better here because we're now in the middle of nowhere. for the most part. But thank you guys for joining us. You can follow us on all the things, of course, Cosmos on YouTube and at at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter, Cosmos everywhere else. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Now you get to watch me shut it
Try
all
to get
down.
us out.
Getting us out. Bye.
Come on, press that button. Press it.